On Saturday, November 2nd, starting at noon, Kevin Williams is helping sick kids by playing video games. He needs your help to raise $1,000 for the CHIO Foundation. Donate at extra-life.org/participants/347875.
Hey guys, I'm Jen. I'm a gamer, a photographer, and a longtime wrestling fan. Wrestling, especially women's wrestling, has truly evolved over time, and it's bigger than ever. I'm here to give my take on the world of wrestling, be it women, men, or whatever else is on my mind. Because if women in wrestling are being heard more, shouldn't women in wrestling podcasts be too? Welcome to Women Crush Wrestling! What's up, everybody? It's me, Just Jenny, here with my boy Adam.
What's up?
What's up with you?
What's you?
What's you? What's up with a you?
That's a story a little behind. I'm in training right now for my new job, and we had a little meeting, and we were trying to ask questions on the whiteboard, like a digital whiteboard, and somebody just stopped typing halfway, so it just said "What's you?" on the board as a question. So that's become part of our lexicon at work now. Just what's going on, man? What's you?
What's you?
What's you?
What's you? At work, when people go, "Hey, how are you?" I always go, "Nothing," and then they get so confused. They're like, "What?" Because I always picture people are going to ask, "What's up with you?" And I say, "Nothing," and then I just shake my head and go, "Nothing," and just walk away.
I'm distracted by your tattoos. I don't think you've ever not worn sleeves to a recording.
I wore a dress last time, but I was not feeling good.
But were there not sleeves on it, or at least t-shirt sleeves?
I could have had a sweater.
You must have then.
Yeah, no,
because I've never noticed your tats before.
It's because I have pale skin, so the color pops. Yeah, they're old. They're 5 years old.
Can I ask about the deer head?
It's my dad.
Can I take a picture of it and put it up?
Yeah.
And do social stuff with it?
So this is a tattoo to remember my dad because he was a hunter.
Right on.
Yeah. So Richard's his name.
That's very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's just Boba Fett, and then there's a female. If a Mickey Mouse was a girl, a human.
Now, why'd you get that? Because that seems a little interesting to me.
I like Mickey Mouse. Minnie Mouse.
Okay, but why, I want her anthropomorphized?
Because the guy that
I guess Mickey Mouse is already anthropomorphized. Why would you want her to be humanized, I should say?
Because I have a thing for old school tattoos, the style, okay. And the guy that does my tattoos drew a lot of people as pin-up girls, but it's just their heads.
Oh, okay.
So they kind of I guess the gypsy head, which is usually the traditional style of tattoo, is if a female face is just they're called gypsy heads, and then
okay.
Because I have a gypsy head on my thigh and it has a snake around her.
What's that represent?
Nothing. The guy that I get tattoos from, sometimes he has you pay $250 and then he'll pick 5 tattoos from the wall and you can pick one. Like a
walk-in Wednesday kind of thing? Right.
Yeah, but it's the fun about him picking them and then you pick what you want from those. Except for the first one he picked for me was a boxing girl, and then it's a really bad word that starts with a C.
No.
And then it says puncher. And I was like,
What? Wait a minute. Whoa, hold it. So wait, do you have that tattoo?
No, because I said if my mom ever saw me with that tattoo, I would be disowned.
Just make sure he puts it somewhere your mom's never going to see it.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I have a tattoo on my stomach from my best friend that says I love you, and then it has a heart lock. And I thought she would never see that, but she has.
But that's a nice tattoo. That's very sweet.
I have that, and then she has I know. Because I would always say I love you, and she'd say I know. And then she has the key to
That's really cute.
Been friends for 15 years.
You two are adorable.
15 years.
I still want you to get that tattoo, though.
No,
the puncher
I can't.
tattoo.
I can't get that word, and I asked him.
Oh, it's so great.
But I asked him, can I get it without those words? And he's like, nope. And I was like, oh.
Is it the word itself?
I just can't.
You just don't like that word?
And now that I'm going to be a parent...
Oh no! Don't even pull that card.
If I'm going on a swim meet, or if I'm doing something.
If you go on a swim meet and other mothers or parents, for that matter, just parents in general, see that tattoo, they are not going to mess with your kid.
No,
because then that's the C puncher.
I just can't. I can't do it. That's the C puncher. There's 2 things I would never tattoo on me, and that's swear words and nudity. I just would never. It's just not for me.
What about just the boxing woman?
The boxing woman, I so would.
Okay.
I love pin-up women tattoos.
Yeah.
And I think that's art, not sexually,
Right.
But
I mean, you can find it very erotic.
You can.
But there's nothing wrong with that. Appreciating the figure form. But I agree with you. Yes, it can be very artistic.
Yeah.
It is very artistic.
And the guy, oh, that was a weird sound. Sorry. That was like half burp.
That's your body saying like, nah, get the sea puncher.
No. He also does wrestling tattoos in traditional style. So he had Jake the Snake tattoo that I really want and I still want, but I just haven't had time or money. Do you think he
could get me a tattoo of Jake the Snake putting the python between his legs when he was drunk at the Las Vegas show? He
probably could draw it for you. Wouldn't do it for free.
No, I mean, I would look for art, high art like that. Yeah. You know,
he specializes in traditional. I love traditional. Like, it's just.
I'm trying to think of like a wrestler who's known for low blows or something, because I feel like we should do a tandem tattoo where you get the lady boxer that says Sea Puncher on it, and I get a guy wrestler that says Sea Puncher on it, but the opposite for the male version of it.
Just can't.
Why not?
I just can't.
I just think you should. I really honestly think you should do this.
Everyone has limits in what they would get tattooed on them. Not.
Also, I feel like this conversation makes me feel a little personally attacked, to be honest with you. I feel a little bit like there's a double standard going on here at this show. Because last week I told you all about how I got tickets to the summit and the meet and greet for Bull Nakano. And I was very excited about all this. And I asked you a very legitimate, serious question, which is, what should I get signed? And you said...
Your chest.
You said I should get my chest signed.
And then tattooed.
Yes. You were mocking me this whole time about my wonderful opportunity to meet a legend of women's pro wrestling.
No, that would make it never die. Unless you die.
Yeah, but so would Sea Puncher, is what I'm saying. Like, that's forever right there. That's a threat forever.
No.
But now here's the problem, though, Jen. It's all fun and games when you're sitting here on the podcast talking about it. But the problem is that on our social media, that question got put out there. And now it feels like everybody wants this to happen. They want me. I've heard, I put it out there to the general public. And I heard some funny stuff. Someone said, like, get an Alundra Blaze action figure signed. Okay, haha. A copy of SummerSlam 94. That's a great suggestion. I like stuff like that. But then you come out and people hear the podcast and they're like, oh yeah, get your chest signed. Get her to give you chops. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, this is a legend. And you want me to come up to her and be like, could you chop me? Like, that, you people are sick. I will say this, one person who actually did have a very, very funny and clever item. They said I should get her to sign some golf balls. Do you know why?
Why?
Bull Nakano was a professional golfer.
Right, yes.
After she left wrestling, she joined the women's Japanese pro tour. Yeah. I had no idea.
Which would mean my grandma would probably know who she was if she was still here.
Your grandmother was a big follower of Japanese golf?
No, she loved golf.
Just golf in general.
She would wake up when it was doing like the Scotland golfing.
Right.
She would wake up at 4 a.m. and just watch it.
You know, I can sit there and be like, oh my God, what kind of one? But I do the same thing for New Japan, so I can't really say anything.
There you go.
So everyone has been commenting, saying that I should get this woman's name tattooed on me somewhere, or that she should chop me. Now, let me preface this by saying something. I love our listeners, and I especially love our patrons, but I am not going to get Bull Nakano's name tattooed on me somewhere. If you don't get Sea Puncher, I'm not going to get Bull Nakano's name tattooed.
I don't know. I have with my SummerSlam package, I have meet and greets. And if one of them was Becky Lynch, if she signed my wrist, I would get Becky Lynch tattooed on me. Her signature.
Okay. All right. I've been giving this a little bit of thought. Not a long, they say I've been thinking long and hard about this. I haven't been thinking long about this, but I have been thinking hard about this. And I've decided to come up with a compromise because I'm a fan of our listeners. And also because I want something in return. Because the idea of me going up there and asking Bull Nakano to chop my chest and then sign it is ridiculous to me. And I think it makes us look unprofessional. However, I am willing to maybe go a little bit longer on this in return for something. Jen, you may have seen that recently I released a video to our YouTube page about our weekend in Chinlock and how amazing it was. You saw it. It was great. And I'm sure all of you listening did too. Here's the problem, though. I'm not really happy with our YouTube channel numbers. I feel like they could go up a lot more. So here's the deal. I'm going to go take a look at our homepage right now, and we're going to see how many subscribers are on our YouTube channel as of this recording. 45. It's pathetic. That's weak. So here's the deal. I'm going to make a deal with all of our listeners and everybody who's connected to WrestleMedia. If we get our subscriber list on our YouTube channel to 100 subscribers, that's all I'm asking for, okay? If you get it to 100, I will get Bull Nakano to sign a part of my body, somewhere on my body. If we get to 150, I will ask her to chop my chest. And I will do my best to record it for our patrons. If we get to 200, okay? If we get to 200 subscribers, I will get her to chop my chest, sign it, videotape it, and I'll release it publicly. Everybody will get it if we get to 200. If they can get me to 1,000, 1,000.
Your butt.
If I will get it to 1,000, I will get Bull Nakano to sign my body and I will get it tattooed. If you do that, do it with me.
If I do it with you?
If you get you have to get a signature and do it with me.
We would have to literally go as soon as they sign.
That's fine. I'm down with that. But you would because we'd probably be doing it at the same time, wouldn't we?
I don't know.
Because what time is your meet and greet?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
When I have my in July, they'll send me my package with my seats and then my
right.
Whatever.
So if we get 1,000 people, if we get 1,000 subscribers to our YouTube channel, you and me, we go get matching signature tattoos.
Matching?
Well, in the sense that they're both wrestlers,
True.
women wrestler signatures.
I would do it there has to be a really strong female wrestler I want.
Sure, I'm not gonna
Which I'm
cool
assuming
with
there will be at least one.
Right. Okay.
So it might be Trish, and I am okay getting Trish's name tattooed on me.
You'd probably like a little bit more than that.
A little bit. Maybe I'll talk to her a little bit more than I did last time.
Trish, can you sign
I wanted to be
Can you sign my
right, yeah. I love you. Can you sign
my butt?
Nah, no one wants to see that.
Move that. Can you just put your signature next to the tattoos to C puncher? Come on, what if it was a tattoo of Trish with that word on?
No. Come on. No, I don't want swears on my body.
Oh my God. All right. So that's our way to open the show up. Addy Starr is going to be on the program. I bet you she'd get matching tattoos with either of us because she's fearless. Absolutely fearless. We're going to be doing part 1 of her interview this week. Part 2 will be coming next week. If you're listening to this show today, then you are probably with us in Renfrew. Okay, maybe not, but you should be with us in Renfrew, right? I mean, because we have a pretty big reach. We go all over the place. But if you're in the area, you should be in Renfrew for Queen Street Entertainment, their live pro wrestling show. Addy Starr is in the main event tonight, teaming with her on-again, off-again best friend in the whole world, depending upon if she's in the ring or out of the ring. Cecil Nix. They're taking on the team of Shane Saber and Alexia Nicole, who we're trying to work on getting an interview for the program. So hopefully she'll be joining us in the next couple of weeks. But make sure that you check us out if you're in the area. That's if you're listening to us here on Patreon. If you're listening to this for free on the Monday show, well, you've already missed out, and that's unfortunate for you. But you probably would have known about the show if you subscribe to our newsletter, which is absolutely free. Yeah, you go to our website, WrestleMedia.ca, and sign up there for free. And then every week you get all kinds of great highlights from the best stuff that was featured on WrestleMedia this week, and access to exclusive contests like the one we've got right now for, speaking of Trish Stratus, her and Lita's new DVD. We're going to be drawing a winner very soon for that, so make sure that you enter by signing up for the newsletter at WrestleMedia.ca.
Cherish that DVD. Cherish it.
Love it. Take it to bed with you.
Yep.
And then take it to SummerSlam and sign it, but get her to sign it C Puncher.
No.
I love
wish
it.
I didn't tell that story. Out of all my time, I have so many tattoos. So out of all my stories.
Next time you'll have to sit on this side so that I can see your other tattoos on the other side.
I only have the one, and it's my mom's birthday.
Oh, that's also very nice.
Yeah.
I won't
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's not a boxing lady with a curse word underneath, but whatever, it's fine.
Mom would disown me.
Would she really? Would she really be mad?
She'd be disappointed.
Well,
She
that's
hates
worse.
tattoos.
Yeah?
And my grandma, every time I saw her, she would be like, "Are you done?"
Are you
That's
done?
all she would, is she would look at me and be like, "Are you done?" And I'd be
What,
like, no.
Nana? Just everything. Are you just done?
Are you done? Oh my goodness, this lady couldn't see. Like, she had Coke bottle glasses for the computer, but I
Right.
got my lip pierced, and she was 10 feet away and went, "What's that?" and ran to me and poked it.
You know what it's from? Watching all those golf games at 4 a.m.
Probably.
She's got her eyes tuned into the little white ball on the TV screen.
Yep. I was like, out of everyone here, how did you notice this?
Well, back in her day,
Yeah, that's true.
if you were walking around with one of those, she would have called you a sea puncher.
Probably would. Probably would have told me that then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right?
Very blunt lady.
Don't worry about that kind of stuff. That's what I'm saying. She'd have respect if you did that.
Yeah,
She'd be like, much respect. Okay, let's go ahead and throw to our interview, part 1, with Addy Starr. She has an incredible story. I can't wait for all of you to hear it. She's just been through so much and come out the other side so much stronger and such a great role model for a lot of people out there. It's going to surprise you. It's going to get you emotional. Stick around for this one. You're going to love it. Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca and join the WrestleMedia revolution today. I'm very pleased to be on the line today with one of the preeminent women wrestlers in the province, and I dare say all of the country, and maybe even the world. She has gotten around quite a bit in the world of women's professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to Women Crush Wrestling, Addy Starr. Addy, thanks for being on the show.
No problem. I'm super happy to be here.
I'm so glad because we had a hard time getting together for a long time. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while now.
I know I'm like the busiest person in the world. Like just this past week, my life has finally kind of settled down to like a normal person. So finally we can do this.
Which is pretty weird because if anybody looks at your resume as a wrestler, they would probably think you're anything but normal.
I know. I think I've been doing so much wrestling, but then I've got like a full schedule outside of wrestling too. So it's kind of this like double life of things going on. You know what I mean? So lots and lots and lots happening.
Let's talk a little bit about that because before we jump into the wrestling, I want to talk about Addy, the person. You work in a field that a lot of people might be surprised to learn, which is education.
Yes. It's been a bit of a weird journey. And actually things have changed a lot this past week. So up until this last Friday, I was a full-time school teacher, like teaching kids every day, the standard kind of job. And just this past week, I've actually stepped away from the classroom and gone into the charity sector, but still working in education. Really, really opposite from what I do on the weekends.
There's a little bit there's a lot of things in there that I want to touch on, but I want to start with where the passion for teaching came from. What made you decide that was the field that you wanted to make a living in?
I think to me, like in high school, I was a kid who was really kind of ignored. Like I wasn't terrible in school and I wasn't great. So I was kind of in the middle, but I had a really tough life at home growing up. Like lots going on in terms of like just unstable kind of home life. I was actually homeless for a while when I was 17. So I always wanted someone who was like going to be there and like talk to me and just make sure I was okay. And I had one teacher in high school that did that. She was the one who actually like realized that like I was coming into school a bit late and tired and things weren't going very well. And she kind of helped me get back on track. And she kind of was the first person who ever told me that I was good at something in English. I love reading and writing. And so she was like, hey, you're actually good at this. And she was like the first person that ever made me feel like I could do something with my life. So for me, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, I just remember the way that teacher made me feel. And I thought, that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do is help someone in that way. So if I have even had a fraction of the impact that teacher had on me, like I will be super happy and feel like I've been successful in my career.
Let's talk about what you had mentioned earlier, being homeless at the age of 17. If it's not too much trouble, if it's too much for you, that's fine. But maybe talk us a little bit about, what it was like to be so young and on your own, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time because I feel like it's one of these things where we all have kind of a story, we've all got something that's happened that's made us who we are. So I never mind talking about it. But yeah, I was very, like I said, unstable when I was a teenager. My dad talks about this all the time, so you don't mind me mentioning it. My dad is a recovering alcoholic. He's been in recovery now for about 15 years. And there was just a lot going on in terms of him being not home. And then when he went into rehab, it was a really difficult time. And I fell in with some bad people, some bad men in my life that kind of like pulled me away from home. And then, I was supposed to go stay with someone when I was that age. And then they kicked me out without warning, and I couldn't go back home because all the stuff that was going on. So yeah, I kind of like couch hopped for a bit. There was a point where I slept under a bridge for like 4 days. Yeah, and like it was tough, and it was one of those things where you just kind of look back now and you go, wow, I can't believe I actually did that. But at the time, it was one of those, you just kind of get through to the next day and you don't think about how hard it actually is. So, I was going into school in the morning and like showering at my school and like asking friends like for a couple bucks for breakfast and stuff like that. And I think about it now and I'm like, my God, if I was teaching a kid and they were like that, like I would be kicking right off and like calling their parents and like seeing what the hell was going on. But I think what it's done for me is made me really grateful for a lot of the stuff that I have. Like I live in like a beautiful condo in Toronto now, and like I'm like, how did I get here from that? And I'm like super, super, super thankful for it. So I think it's done a lot in terms of helping me more than it has hurt me.
Absolutely incredible. Now let's talk about how you got where you are now. Primarily, how you went from being homeless to where you are now. So was it a gradual progression where you slowly started to pull yourself out of it, or was there an aha moment? How were you able to take yourself away from that situation?
It was kind of this moment where one of my friend's parents had like heard that this was going on, because I was kind of going to his house a bit. And they kind of got in contact with the school and got in contact with my parents. And then we had this like meeting all together to like figure out what was going on. So it was kind of this like gradual phasing me back in, but like it still was tough. And like my parents still weren't home very often. And it was a tough time. And then I kind of moved out again really quickly after that. Like I had kind of been out of the house since I was 15. And it was only when I was 17 for a few weeks when I was homeless. But I then, as soon as I graduated, like I was out, I was gone, living elsewhere, which is actually when I started wrestling, because I was dating a guy who wrestled, and I was like 17, 18. I had no real idea what I was doing with my life. Like I'd graduated high school, but I had no plans, and I obviously had no money to go to university or anything like that. So I was just kind of, seeing what was out there and seeing what was going on. So I went to wrestling training with this guy, and just to sort of check it out. And I mean, the first day, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. Like, this is the best thing ever. It's so liberating, and I feel good at it. I feel strong, and I feel really empowered. So I kind of credit wrestling as one of the reasons why I managed to get myself together, because after I was, wrestling for a little while, and working like a job here and there, I kind of realized I got to make a move. Like I got to do something. I got to do something with this. So I went from wrestling just for the school that I trained at, and kind of just around Guelph and Kitchener and Cambridge. And I decided to apply to university and move to Ottawa, and I had no money. I had nothing. I figured it out as I went along, and yeah, I think wrestling was really instrumental in me getting where I am now.
Wow, unbelievable. Let's go back to that moment where you went to the training school. You weren't a fan of wrestling before this, or was it something you had been exposed to? What was your relationship like with pro wrestling before going to the school?
I knew absolutely nothing about pro wrestling, like literally nothing. I think I remember one time when I was like 6, my cousin watched, like, I think you must have been watching the WCW or something, and then like did an elbow drop on me off the couch and like bloodied my nose or something, as we all experience, you know. That was it. And then, so going into the school, having absolutely no clue what to expect, my trainer always said that was something that benefited me. So my trainer is Eddie Osborne. And he said that because I knew nothing about wrestling, I had no preconception of what I was trying to achieve. Like, I was just listening because I didn't know anything different. So a lot of people will go into wrestling and be like, oh, I really want to be like this person, or I really want to be like this person. But I just went in going, teach me what to do, tell me what to do. So I think I almost had a bit of an advantage in that way.
That's a really unique perspective, and I would expect nothing less from Eddie Osborne. Shout out to Eddie. I love Eddie, good guy. And it leads me to the question about going to Ottawa and continuing your education. Was wrestling how you paid your bills from that point out, or were you able to? No. So you. I'm just trying to follow the timeline. So you get to Cambridge, you start at the school, and during this time while you're there, you've got a place to stay, and you start kind of falling into a, you know, quote unquote normal routine. You get yourself a kayfabe job, and you go and you make some money to get yourself educated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I relied a lot on student loans, like, still paying those off. But like, you know, it was more or less, because of wrestling, I had kind of a secondary reason to go somewhere, right? Like for me, if I was going to go to university, like in Guelph, where I'm from, like I would have been really, really limited, I think, still in my wrestling. Like I would have gone to school, but I feel like I would have fallen off of it. Whereas when I applied to go to the University of Ottawa, I was in contact with a few other people in Ottawa who were like, hey, if you come up here, there's all this stuff going on up here. And I knew Misty Haven and MVP from some of the PWA shows that I had done, and I knew that they were in the area, and I was sort of like, oh, okay, well, at least, very least, I know Misty and MVP, and I can maybe go to a few shows with them. So it was kind of what pushed me forward, even though I didn't really have much of a plan in terms of how I was going to pay for anything or what I was going to do. But I think, yeah, it was the knowledge of that area that pushed me there.
So let's talk about when you started wrestling. Addy Starr, who was she? What was the gimmick that you had originally envisioned, having never really been exposed to the business before this? And is she that much different from the Addy Starr that we know now?
Okay, so I did my homework is the thing. And this is I think one of the biggest things that I kind of advocate for when people are coming into wrestling, if they are like me, and some people don't have any knowledge of wrestling going in. I'm not the only one. So what I advocate for is that you do your homework and you look up some stuff and you research and you watch old stuff. I mean, you've got the network now, you've got no excuse. So I was exposed to a very specific type of wrestling when I first started doing my homework, which was deathmatch wrestling. So not surprising, obviously. So the very first full wrestling show I ever watched was the 1995 IWA Japan King of the Deathmatch with Terry Funk, Cactus Jack, Leatherface, that whole thing. Which is not typical, I guess, for a very first exposure to professional wrestling. So I'm watching this VHS and I see Cactus Jack doing his promos backstage, covered in blood and bandages and screaming and just squealing and saying he's gonna kill Terry Funk. He doesn't care if he dies in the ring. And I was like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. So I think my initial vision was to be this person who was completely and utterly indestructible, which kind of fits in with my life. I mean, I went through some really rough times, so I was kind of like, coming out the other side indestructible and stronger than I was before. And I think to me, it was this sort of shock value of the blood and the gore and the barbed wire and the thumbtacks and the light tubes. And I was like, whoa, I want to do all of that. So that was my first thought, was that I wanted to be violent and I wanted to be shocking and I wanted to be tough. So it's changed a little bit in terms of the refinement of it, I think, because there's a lot of deathmatch wrestlers who will go into deathmatch wrestling and I think they won't look too much at the wrestling side of things. They'll focus on, I'm going to bleed a lot and I'm going to do these disgusting spots and I'm going to just do the worst, most horrific things you can imagine, but they won't get better at wrestling. So I started doing the death matches and I wanted to be really gross and disgusting and shocking, but then I evolved more into making sure I was also a good wrestler, and now I've kind of gone back to the death match side of things. So I feel like it's this much more well-rounded vision of what I initially had when I started.
Who's somebody within that particular genre of the business, deathmatch wrestling, that you feel maybe doesn't get enough credit for being a good wrestler as well as a spectacle?
Oh God, there's lots. I mean, I just wrestled Nick Gage in New York for Mania weekend, and I kind of went in thinking, okay, it's Nick Gage, MDK, it's going to just be violent and crazy and this and that. But oh my God, he knows like so much, and he was so amazing to work with. And I feel like as much as he is like the person you look at and you genuinely think they might kill you if you get into the ring with them, he was a great wrestler to work with. Like I was absolutely taken aback by how good that match was. And I think 99% of it was because of him.
Did you immediately jump into that style, or did you have to build up to it? What's your history like with hardcore deathmatch wrestling?
My second match ever, I took a DVD onto a chair wrapped in barbed wire. So that should tell you everything there.
That's the whole story, really.
That's it. Yeah, I had my first ever match. My first ever match was against Eddie Osborne, because you usually always have your first match, usually with your trainer or someone at your school.
Sure.
So I had my first ever match with Eddie Osborne. That was a straight up normal match, and he'll hate me for telling this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. He was telling me before the show, he was like, "Don't worry, be great. We're not doing deathmatch today, so you're going to be fine. It's going to be no problem at all. I'm going to take good care of you, blah, blah, blah." We go out, we lock up, he takes me down. First thing he does is he slips up and he full tilt punches me in the mouth as hard as he possibly can. Like, and I'm bleeding everywhere and my tooth has gone through my lip, and I was like, what is going on? And he looks at me after we get back into the match and he goes, "Well, at the very least, it's not going to get any worse."
What a strange world this pro wrestling is.
So that was my first ever match. I was getting bloodied up in my first ever match. So then the second match was a death match. And then I did a couple matches here and there, kind of like just random ones with like 21st Century Fox and Misty Haven and Danya. But then I went back and in my first year I did a ton of death matches. I did a barbed wire spiderweb match, which nearly ripped my ear off. I did some no rope barbed wire matches. Like, it was pretty intense for a first year. And then I think after that, I took a step back for a little while, especially after I had a match with Jeff Black in Ottawa where he bled pretty bad to the point we had to stop the match. And I think I kind of took a moment and went, maybe let's focus on something else for a little bit. But since all that, and since I've sort of traveled a little bit and done a lot of work to improve my wrestling skills, I feel like now I'm kind of going back to, I'm like really drawn back to it now.
All right, and there's part 1 of our interview with Addy Starr. Thank you, everyone who listened in on the free episode. For all of you who were paying us on Patreon, thank you for putting some ducats in the bucket. We are going to see you on the other side of the stinger. In the meantime, we just want to quickly let you know that you can follow us and like us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Our question this week is going to be one that Jen and I posed earlier, which is, who's going to be better for the women's division? Raw or SmackDown? Paul Heyman or Eric Bischoff? We want to know what you think of those new creative changes. Who do you think is going to end up better? Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get those bell notifications as well. And then who knows, maybe I'll be walking around with Bull Nakano's name tattooed on me somewhere down the line. We'll have to wait and see. And of course, if you do want to get a little bit more from us, go sign up for Patreon right now. A few ducats in the bucket every month will get you early access to our episodes, get you more of our episodes, and get you exclusive episodes. So get all that right now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Of course, if you really like the episode, the best thing you can do is share it with friends, family members, strangers on the street who love women's wrestling, and people who like talking about women's wrestling, because that's us. So go ahead and support us by giving us a rate and review, something positive, maybe 5 stars would be wonderful. Just this will, you can pretend like you're Dave Meltzer. Give us 5 stars. We'd really love that. In the meantime, though, I think it's time to take it home.
All right, well, I've been Just Jenny, and that's been my boy Adam.
I have been. I got nothing. It's hot. I'm tired. It's muggy.
True.
Let's just get out of here. Okay?
So we crushed it.
We crushed it.
Woo!
Bye.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything.
Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca. Samoans, man.
And it's like comes out like that. Like it's just, he's like, looks like he's super hurt, and then just bam, he gets you, and you're just like, oh my goodness. He would be a predator. Like, you know.
Whatever the noise predators make. Was that a predator noise? I don't know.
Oh, I can't do it. Sometimes I can do it, but I have to relax.
Oh, and
it's like a clicking sound, right? Like, you know what I mean.
What the hell was it that I did?
No, it wasn't that, but it was.
I don't know. What the hell did I do?
I don't know.
Who the hell did I hit? I don't know.
Maybe it was an alien.
Maybe I was doing the xenomorph.
But predators are more like, but it's like more like a clicky sound.
So like a dolphin is what you're saying?
No. A dolphin's under the mask.
Doesn't surprise me.
Hey man, they're smart.
That's what I'm saying.
They can sense we have weapons. You never know.
They don't like attacking us if we're not armed. It's all about the sport of the hunt for them.
Yep.
You know, that's dolphins to a T, baby.
Someone should make a Predator movie on that.
It's been better than the last one.
Predators of the Sea.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMedia.ca.